Okay, this is Orlando Wilson, and in this video slash podcast, because we got them going out in both formats now, I'm going to answer a question I was sent. Some gentleman sent me a question reference ghillie suits for surveillance. He asked me whether he needed to buy a ghillie suit. He had three or four questions on ghillie suits and surveillance. You know what my response was, and I'm a little bit of a sarcastic asshole, I just asked him what drugs he was taking. Apparently, and I'm being polite, apparently he's been following some social media surveillance expert who's telling people you need to wear ghillie suits and ghillie suits are a must, etc. Again, that is the most ridiculous bullshit I have heard. Well, I've heard quite a lot. It's some of the most ridiculous bullshit. These are people that's apparently pushing supposed professional surveillance courses, and they're telling people to wear ghillie suits. If you've been on a surveillance course and ghillie suits have even been mentioned as far as being a positive for surveillance, I'd seriously question the experience of the people running the course and also their, I can't say mental state, their maturity level, because obviously they're children. All right, let's clarify things. In a lot of places, if you're providing licensed private investigation services, etc., let's use the United States as an example. If I was in the States doing surveillance, and I was doing things officially, I should go and tell the local police department that I'm providing surveillance in their area. That way, anything suspicious, if I'm compromised, etc., the cops know there's a private investigator working in that area. Whether you do that or not depends. I know one guy had issues in one city in South Florida, and this city had a reputation for doing this type of thing. Went and told the police he's doing surveillance in this area on job. I don't know, you reckon 30, 45 minutes. 2 cop cars pull up behind him, hit him with a felony stop, get out the car, do this, do that, etc. Compromised him completely, even though he told the cops he was in the area. Why? Because they're more loyal to their tax base. The residents in that area pay their taxes and pay for the police department. So they're protecting their residents by keeping private investigators out. All right? That's a little tip. So again, back onto a serious surveillance job. What would the cops do if the cops got a call that somebody is acting suspicious or they've seen somebody hanging around the bushes? And again, we've got to think about where you could use a ghillie suit. Hanging around a park in a ghillie suit in the United States. I think that person would be lucky if they didn't get shot, period. Especially if they had a camera, a handy cam in their hands, because that could be easy taken for being a weapon, etc., especially at night. So let's say where else? Private property. United States, private property. You're on somebody's property doing a surveillance job. You know what? In a lot of places, the fact that the homeowner, property owner, or one of their staff come across you in a ghillie suit with a camera, you know what? They can shoot you 150%. I'd say that would be justifiable. If I was out walking around my property, somebody else's property, and there's somebody in the bushes in a ghillie suit, 1, why are they there? And 2, bang, bang. I'm shooting first, asking questions later, because I'd be in fear for my safety, especially if I saw a handy cam, because to me it could be a firearm, etc. So this is where wearing ghillie suits, I would say from a personal safety perspective, United States, you're looking to get shot. In Europe, where people aren't so trigger happy, the laws are a little bit more totalitarian as far as use of force. You're caught. Where could you wear the ghillie suit? On private property, then you're trespassing. And again, in a park, the cops will be called on you, and what? These days, if you're videoed, you'll be on the local news, to say the least. I can't think of any reason why anybody would be walking around in a ghillie suit. And if you're providing surveillance services, you always got to think about the risk of being compromised. And you need a cover story for why you're there doing the surveillance. It's one thing if you're in the military and police and there's an issue, you're compromised, you flash a badge, you flash an ID card, you know what, everybody's your friend. The authorities are your friend. If you're compromised doing private investigation work, surveillance work. In a lot of places, the cops will be, if you say, I'm a private investigator, they want to know what you're doing, who you're looking at, etc. If you were in, and I'd say in a lot of places, if you were caught just providing surveillance, just doing surveillance on somebody's residence, etc., etc., in most places, the police will want to know what you're up to. They're going to be looking to charge you, unless they're friends of yours, looking to charge you or whatever, violations of privacy, etc., etc. And no doubt they'd be going and checking with the homeowners in that area to ensure the houses have not been broken into, nothing's gone missing, you haven't been doing anything suspicious. Because again, everybody's suspicious of private investigators. Especially if they're wearing a fucking ghillie suit, right? So this is where, if you're having to put someone under surveillance, where military-wise in the old days you'd be in a ghillie suit, if you'd be putting anywhere under surveillance these days, the first option is going to be remote cameras, a trail camera, a Wi-Fi camera. It's a lot more concealable, it's a lot easier to hide than somebody being in a ghillie suit. Yeah, you can put it in a tree, put it in a bush, and put it in place. If it's Wi-Fi, you can monitor it from anywhere in the world. If it's a trail camera, you put it in, you come back a day or so later, pick up the pictures. That's how you do things these days. If you're going into an area where you need to do a CTR, go close to a building, if you need to physically film, if that's your only option, it's going to be short term. Then if you understand camouflage, concealment, use of cover, okay, it's very difficult to spot somebody within a couple of, okay, if you're on top of them, you might spot them, but if anybody knows how basic fieldcraft, they're going to be difficult to spot. Close to where you don't be walking around in camouflage military garb. There's a lot of sporting clothes, hiking clothes, trail running clothes that they're green, they're brown, they can blend in, but they're civilian clothes. They're not militaristic. If you're caught anywhere, especially in a lot of, how can I put it, other countries, dressed up in military garb with cameras, your ass is going straight to jail, period. If you're caught in parts of Africa dressed up in a ghillie suit, they'll think you're a dodgy witch doctor and they'll end up executing you. So this is where, if you understand camouflage concealment, there's plenty of clothes out there that can help you blend into the environment. And if you're compromised, you know what, you're out hiking, you're out jogging, you're out doing something. It's you jumped in the bushes because you need to go to the bathroom or something. You're not there being Mr. Tactical in a ghillie suit doing surveillance. So I hope this clarifies a few points on how ridiculous it is if you, well, for people to think and people to train in ghillie suits for surveillance. I've spoken to a few people about this, and I think the only logical reason, the best cover story we could come up with why somebody would want to wear a ghillie suit is they have some type of sexual fetish. They like to go into the only cover story that I think would possibly pass with anybody, with the police, etc., is this person has some type of fetish. They like to go into the woods, into the bushes, in their ghillie suit, and video themselves jerking off. That might pass. But apart from that, there's absolutely no reason to be wearing a ghillie suit, owning a ghillie suit for surveillance, investigations, etc. So I hope this clarifies a few points. In the meantime, follow me along on social media because I have an array of videos up on surveillance, investigations, close protections, etc. We've got a lot of articles up. I've got an array of books on Amazon. So follow us along. Our main platforms, we're up on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And if you connect with me, you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. In the meantime, keep it real. That's what I can say, really. Keep it real. Don't believe the vast majority of the things you see on social media. A lot of people like to get dressed up and play soldier and look tactical, etc. That's okay in their little worlds. But in the big world, if you're serious about providing serious close protection, investigation services, etc., you're just going to be made to look an idiot and possibly end up getting arrested. So, and that's things you don't want. So be good, stay safe, stay out of trouble.